all good today. Um, Everything is on mute at the moment, so I'm just gonna go through the settings, and then can take questions at the end. Okay. Um, Already know how to load the robot, so you will put your password there. Once you have your password, the first thing you will note is the default settings. So this is for NasDax. Whatever you see here, if you are trading NasDaq with a broker that offers 0.001, this you can use these default settings. Okay, just put your password and say okay. But if you are using a broker that offers 0.10 or a full lot, you can't use 0.01 because some brokers don't have that option for NasDaq. Then you might want to change the settings by removing 10. Okay, what do I mean by removing 10? For instance, on take profit, you see says here, this is 25,000. So with the brokers that offers the lot sizes I mentioned, you will remove the 10, which will make it 2,500. Okay, so the distance will be the same with someone who's using a broker with 0.01 and with you using a broker that offers 0.110. Because what happens is some brokers, because they don't have much liquidity for NasDaq, so they reduce the value of each pip of a pip. Okay, so now the distance of 25,000 will be the same for 2,500, or maybe other brokers are just quoted in 4 digits, others are quoted 5 digits. But in most cases, you will notice these brokers by using 0.10, or they will use 1.00. They will not offer 0.01. Okay, so that's what this means over here. So take profit by default, this is for NasDaq, as I've mentioned. This you can reduce if you find it to be far, because these default settings are for day trading. Okay, if you prefer the robot to do scalping or to swing trade, then you will change this accordingly. But the default settings are for day trading. Okay, so you can make this 15,000, or you can make it 10,000 or 5,000. It's up to you. But these are for day trading. If you want to swing trade, you can reduce this. I mean, you can increase if you want to swing trade. If you want to scalp, or you want the robot to perform as a scalper, you can reduce this. Okay. Daily target as before. This is based on your account currency. So if your account is in USD, your daily profit target is by default will be 1,000 USD. If your account is in ZAR, that will be 1,000 ZAR. Your account is on GBP, that's 1,000 GBP, and so on. Okay, so this you can change as you wish. What we also need to clarify here, just because the daily profit target is set to 1,000, this does not mean each day you will be making 1,000. Okay, this is set to 1,000 based on the average and how the robot performs. Okay, on a good day, you can make more than 1,000 USD on NasDaq. Okay, I'm not talking about currencies now. I'm talking about NasDaq. If it's just a regular day, like any other day where you find like NasDaq moving, is moving, is making big moves. Let me put it that way. Like there's news coming out, Donald Trump is saying stuff. This is a target that you can set for yourself. Okay, if there's like anything happening within the tech industry, you can make that target on an average. So on a quiet day, probably can make about 500 USD, 600 USD. So this is based on the average of how NasDaq moves. Okay, this is for NasDaq. Don't confuse this with currencies. Currencies, this will be different. But now everything I mentioned will be based on NasDaq. Okay, and also, as I mentioned before, with the broker that offered at 0.10, the value is different. For instance, if you trade NasDaq with Eagle FX, or you trade with Veracity Market, or if you trade with other broker, okay, I'm not using other brokers, so I'm not familiar how they work. You trade with these two brokers on 0.01, you can make the 1,000 on average. But if you are trading NasDaQ with a different broker, like a broker like Hot Forex, brokers like what other, like IC Market, FX Pro. FX Pro has both 0.01 and 0.10, but I'm referring now to 0.10. The same move that will give you $1,000 on NasDaQ with 0.01. With these other brokers, that same move might not be the 1,000, could be 7,000 or 6,000, because the value with them is reduced or is less. So the value of NasDaQ, a pip, one pip value on NasDaQ on Eagle FX or Veracity Market will differ from the same move of the same value of same pip on Hot Forex or on IC Market, because they don't have the same liquidity for NasDaQ. So the value for a pip there is less than it is with these two other brokers. So the daily target will also very much depend on the broker that you're using and how, if that broker has liquidity for NasDaQ or not. Some brokers they don't have, so this will be a thing that you need to pay attention to. If you're using brokers like Eagle FX, Veracity Market, JP Market, if they come back, this you can make with 0.01 on a day. Okay. Other brokers you can make less because they don't have the same value for people in NasDaQ. Switch the robot off once daily target is reached. So if now for NasDaQ your profits are at $1,001, that means now you have reached daily target. So the robot will now switch off. That is only if you put this to true. This is true, then this will happen. This is true. You, let's say in the morning during London session, you made $250. Okay. During New York session, you made 700. So that's 950. On New York close, you make 50 USD, or the trade that is running is at 50 USD. The robot will check for today. So far, we have made 950. Now you have a trade that is running at $50. So 950 plus $50, that's 1,000. So that will be your target for today. So the robot will close that trade of $50 because the total for today has reached the daily target. So the $50 trade will be closed. Okay, that if you set this on true. Once that trade is closed, then the robot will switch off auto trading. This means it won't open other trades. If there's a signal, regardless of how strong the signal is, it will not open because you have reached the daily target. So this will now stop opening your trades. Okay, that's if you leave it on true. If it's on false, the trades only get closed if you reach your take profit or you reach your stop loss. It's on true, it will close when it reaches your daily target. Okay. Lot size, we have 3 different lot sizes that are set on default. Okay. If you wish, you can make all of these 3 lot sizes the same. But the reason we have them at different levels or at different values, let me put it that way, because each lot size gets open when certain market conditions are reached. Okay. So lot size 1, if the robot analyzes the market and it picks up a setup or what you will refer to as a signal, okay, if that signal, based on the rules the robot is built on, if that signal is 90% accurate to the rules or 90% close to the rules, it matches the rules 90%, then the robot will use lot size 1 and open the pending order or the trade for you, or the order. Okay. Now, if the robot analyzes at a different time on the same pair, let's say, or at the same time, but in this case, it picks up the analysis or the setup matches the rules at about 95%, then it will use lot size 2. Okay. But if the analysis or the setup matches the rules 100%, everything is set according to the rules. It's 100%, 100% analysis with the rules. Okay. Now, the lot size will then be used, will be 0.3. Okay. Now, what this means, if it's 100%, the analysis, it means now we have a higher chance of this trade moving in our favor with a minimum drawdown. That is why now the lot size is higher, which means now if this trade moves 20 pips, you will have a 0.5 lot size. So this is, let's just play with numbers and say 20 pips on 0.5 will be $25. Let's just play like that. You have $25. Over here, same move will probably give you about 15. Same move here only gives you like 20 cents or something like that. So what we are saying now, the reason for using all three is that because sometimes the market will make the setup, but will not match all the rules, okay? And the move will continue and move until it reaches take profit, or it moves a very large number of pips or a very long distance, but without making the full 100% match with the setup and the rules. So that's why we allow it to open trades under these three different conditions. Because you have to remember sometimes, let's say, for example, if you are someone who's trading, if you are trading head and shoulder, and you say your head and shoulder has to break, let's say you say when the market breaks the head and shoulder, it has to open and close on the other side of the neckline, okay? Then you will take the trade. But you will find in some cases, you have your head and shoulder. Now the candle that breaks the head and shoulder doesn't close on the other side. It opens on one side of the neckline, it goes over to the other side, then it comes back and close above the neckline. Then the next candle continues the breakout. Now, if your rules were only open a trade if you close on the other side, that means that trade will go without you, because your rule said if it open on this side and close on that side, then I'm going. But if it open on this side, does not close on that side, then I'm not involved. So that means you will not be involved in that trade. So what we're doing here is this: we're saying if our rules are met, if you say now, because the robot is based on sessions, okay, and M&Ws. Now, if for, we say, for London Open, if London Open and moved, let's say, for example, 20 pips, then you open a trade at that level and you stop loss X amount. Now, when we putting alternatives to this rule, this is not how the robot works. Okay? I'm just making an example because I'm not going to give out the strategy for the robot. But for those one who took the course and those one who are in the group, then you know the strategy because we do it on the sessions on the sessions that we do on Sundays. So if the robot sees, okay, this is now the session, land and open and moves certain amount of pips in one direction, then the robot will open a trade for the reversal from there, as an example, at 20 pips. Now the other lot sizes, what we do with them, we say lot size 3, if this thing happens exactly with 20 pips, then you open using lot size 3. But if the robot or if the market opens London session and moves in that direction by 19 pips, which means it's 1 pip short, then you open using lot size 2. Same thing if the market opens on London session and it moves 18 pips, then you open using lot size 1, because now you are no longer 100% of the rules. The rules is it has to move 20 pips. So if it moves 20 pips, then you open using 20. But if it moves 19, not 20, you use lot size 2. If it moves 18, not 20, you use lot size 1. So that's the logic behind the lot sizes, and which are different over here. So when the robot analysis matches the rules, it uses lot size 3. If it gets close enough to the rules but does not match them 100%, it will use lot size 2. Same thing with lot size 1. Okay. Lot size management by default is on false. If you set it on true, it will use whatever percentage you use here on your account balance. Okay. But this means if you set this on 5, the robot will use 5% of your balance and calculate the lot size based on that. Okay. If set this on 1%, you'll use 1% of your balance. You can use it on 0.01%, it will use that to calculate the lot size. So if you are someone who's using an account with a leverage of more than 500 is to 1, then your 1% maybe on your 100 USD account might be 0.1. But if you are someone who's using the same balance, 100 USD, but your leverage is 1,000 to 1, same 1% for you might be 0.10 or 0.2. Okay. Because now your leverage is not the same as 5.1. So what this basically means is the higher your leverage, the higher your 1% will be. So if you're using one of those accounts with 2,000 leverage, 1% for you might be 0.30 or 0.10 or a full load. It just depends on your balance and your leverage. So if you decide to use this, it's best that you use it if your account is on 500 to 1. Then you can use this lot size management. If your account is on 500 to 1 and your account balance is above 100 USD, you can use this. Your account is still below 100 USD, rather just let the robot trade without the lot size management. And then as your account grows, then you can set it up to true if you want to. But this basically means that you're going to use your account balance and your leverage. Your leverage affects your 1% of the lot size. So if your leverage is 1,000 to 1, your 1% lot size must be 10, might be 10. But if your leverage is 500 to 1, your 1% might be 0.01 lot size. So you must pay attention to your leverage. If you do not know what your leverage is, you can always check it on your broker. I think they will have it under the details of your account. So always just make sure you are aware what your leverage is. So if you wanted to use the robot to start at 0.10, but your leverage is 2,000, you might find that you need to use 0.01%. But if the leverage is lower, you might find you need to use 0.10. Depending on your leverage, is this 1 to 500, you might find 1% is 1%. Okay, then you can use the lot size that you expect it to use. But the logic behind this is that if you want to manage your emotions, let me put it that way. You don't want to find yourself panicking or guessing and everything like that. Sorry. Then what you can do is use lot size management and set the percentage. In this way, you are saying, I'm going to use 1% of my account. That's what I want to risk a trade. That's what you have to remember. This is per trade. Okay. So if lot size of 1% of your account is equal to 0.10, then you need to be aware that 0.10 will be applied for all the trades that are open using lot size 1. Okay. That is if you set that to 1% and that matches your risk or your account. But if you say, I prefer to select my own lot size and the robot should use what I select, then you can say lot size management false and you set your own lot size. If you want to use 0.10, want to use 0.10, 0.10. So this is what the robot will use. Now the lot sizes are the same, but when the trades are being opened, as we mentioned, lot size trade, that's a very accurate setup is 100% matching the rules, or 95%, 90%. Okay. So on 90%, only one trade will be open. 95%, two trades will be open. 100%, up to 5 trades will be opened at the same time. The robot will not open more than 5 trades at the same time on this one. So 5 trades will be open max. Here, 2 trades will be open max. 1 trade will be opened on that level. Because here we have a higher accuracy, so we're willing to risk more because the drawdown is also less. The lower the drawdown, the higher the risk. Because you know, it goes if it goes against you, it will go against you with a certain amount, but when it continues in your favor, you're maximizing your profits. So that's why you find with the default settings, the lot size is getting bigger with the levels. Okay, so now if you're someone who's trading NasDax with a low balance, you're probably going to want to make all of this to 0.01. Okay, now when the robot opens the 100% matching rules, or this lot size 3 on NasDaq, it will place 5 pending orders. Now, if your balance only allows 1 trade, you will have 5 pending orders, but only 1 pending order will be activated. And the other 4 will get deleted automatically because your margin does not allow you to have more than 1 position open. For example of this will be if for your broker the required margin for NasDaq is $60. Okay, that's the required margin for you to be able to trade NasDaq, and your balance is $100. That means only 1 trade can be opened on your account for NasDaq. Can't open more than 1 because you don't have enough margin. So if the robot opens 5 pending orders, only 1 of those orders will be activated because that is what your margin allows. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So you can put them all at the same, or you can make them different. Okay. Number of pending orders is set to 30 by default. This is just allowing the robot to be able to analyze further or higher in cases whereby we have news like NFP, GDP, those kind of news. If you have those, or maybe Donald Trump tweeted something or something is happening somewhere in the world that is affecting NasDaQ or any other currency for that matter, this allows the robot to be able to place more pending orders at the precise locations, let me put it that way. But if you find that you are not comfortable having that amount of orders, you can always reduce this to 10. It's recommended that you don't make it less than 10. Okay, because if you make it less than 10, you might miss a lot of good setups because you don't want to have the robot setting up penning ordered at one level, and when the market is moving, you don't have enough space to activate more. So try not to make it less than 10. I'd make it 10 or more. Okay. So that's what's happening here with penning orders. This does not mean the robot will open 30 trades all at once. Just means as the market is moving and as the robot is analyzing, it has enough space to place more penning orders if the rules and the analysis are matching 100% or 90% or higher. If the analysis does not match the rules by 90% or higher, then no trade will be open. So if you find that you have your robot on from the morning, and by the time you come back from work, there's no trade on that pair, it means if there was a setup there, that setup was not 90% matching with the rules. So if it does not match the rules by 90% or higher, the robot will not open a trade on that pair because it needs to be 90% or higher. If it's less than 90%, no trade will open. Okay. This way you avoid taking unnecessary losses. So that's what happens here with penning orders. Stop loss, as everyone knows, it's how much you're willing to lose in pips. So for NasDax, by default, we have it on 2,500. Like I mentioned before, with the brokers that have lower values or lower liquidity for NasDax, you might make this 250. Okay. But most of the brokers, you will have to leave it as it is on 2,500. At least most of the brokers that I'm using and most of the other people are using, like Eagle FX and Veracity Markets and so on, and Trade. You might leave this on as it is. Okay, that's your stop loss. Trailing stop, set it to by default. If you don't want the robot to trail stop, you can always put it on false. For instance, someone who wants to swing trade can put this on false. Or you can leave it on true and just increase the trailing stop. Okay. The trailing start is how many pips do you want the robot to wait before it starts trailing stops. That means the robot is moving in your favor by 3,500 points, pips. Then the stop loss will move to break even. Then from there on, for every other pip the robot moves in your favor, the robot will follow by the distance of the same amount, which is 35. Okay. But if you want to follow the trade quicker, you can reduce this and make it whichever amount you feel comfortable with, at 2,000 or less or whatever we want. So if it's less, what does it mean? It means the robot will wait for the trade to move in your favor by 3,500 pips. That means you're in profit of 3,500. Okay. Once you're in profit of 3,500, then the stop loss will move into profits, securing the profits as they move, but it will keep a distance from the current price to the stop loss by 2,000. That means anything else below that is secured as your profits. So as it moves, it will keep that distance of 2,000. But if you don't want to get stopped out randomly by other spikes, by pullbacks or just spikes, you might want to make them the same. So whatever you have on your trailing start, might have it on your trailing distance as well. Okay. For notifications, so if the robot places a new order or active trade gets closed with profits or gets closed with a loss, a notification will be sent to your phone. So by default, this is true. This is true by default for many reasons. Keeping in mind the people or the guys that sit in front of the computer and watch the robot. This is mostly for you. If you are using the robot, you don't have any reason to sit in front of your computer and wait for the robot to open a trade. That is unnecessary. Remember, the reason you getting a robot is for you to be able to continue with your life while you're making money. You don't want to spend the whole day sitting in front of the computer waiting for a robot to open a trade. If you wake up, whatever time you wake up in, switch on the robot, make sure auto trading is on, then you leave it. You proceed with your day. If you have to Go to work, you go to work. Go to the gym, you go to the gym. Do what you have to do, and just leave the robot. Okay. If you just sit at home, play games, sit at home, play games. That you don't have to sit in front of your computer watching the robot to open trades. This is for mostly for the you guys. Okay. So you open the robot. Another thing, always make sure you open the robot before London Open if you want to get the best setups. Before London Open, you will get the best setups. Most trades happen during that time. But if you're someone who's still sleeping at a time, try to make sure the robot is open before New York Open. Because those are the times you want to make sure the robot is running. In the morning during Asia session, you can always switch it off and just sleep or let the computer rest or whatever the case may be. But the best times is just before London Open. Make sure it's on, and New York Open. Those times you have to make sure the robot is open. So open the robot, switch on auto trading, you leave it. This part here will send you notification to your phone. If a new order is placed, it will send it to your phone. Then you can come back if you are someone who likes to watch the market. After you receive the notification that an order has been placed, then you can come back and look and sit in front and see, okay, this is what's happening. Then you leave again and come back again if you want to come back. But that's not necessary. This will send everything that is happening to your phone. If a new trade is open, it will send to your phone. The stop loss is hit, it will send to your phone. If your take profit is hit, it will send to your phone. If you are not at home, your kids are playing with your laptop or your computer, and they close a trade by mistake, it will tell you a trade has been closed without reaching your take profit or your stop loss. Then you will know someone closed the trade manually. Or if your broker is messing with your account and the broker closes the trade, it will tell you a trade has been closed without reaching take profit or reaching stop loss. Then you know someone closed the trade on your account. So it's either your kids, your wife, or anyone who has access to your computer, or just your broker messing with your account. So that is why it is by default is on true. Okay. Now, binary trading. This is for that there was a person at some point who was mentioning that they used to trade binary options or binary trading. So you will find this is where you open a trade for a certain period of time, then the trade gets closed after that period, regardless if the trade is in profits or not in profit. Okay. So this is what's happening with binary option. So if you set it on true, if this is true, then you have three options. Either the trade will run for days, or the trade will run for hours, or the trade will run for minutes. So by default is on 2, which is hours. Okay. So if you have closed profits after at 4, while your mood is 2, this means trade will be closed after 4 hours. Okay. So if the analysis will be the same, analyze, picks out the rules are matching 100%, it will open using lot size 3. Now, if the trade is moving in your favor, it doesn't matter how far the trade goes, or if the trade goes in your favor and just start consolidating in one place. If this is true, and you have it on 4, the robot will not close that trade until it finishes 4 hours. Then it will close after 4 hours with whatever profits you have at the time. Okay, doesn't use, even if you have your stop loss, your take profit is set, your stop loss is set. Once you switch this on through, all of this take profit and lot size, take profit and stop loss does not apply anymore. Stop loss does not apply, take profit does not apply. The robot will only use whatever time you have here. It will not place a stop loss, it will not place a take profit. It will just open the trade and wait 4 hours. After 4 hours, it will close the trade. If you have this on 1, it will open the trade and wait for 1 hour. After 1 hour, it closes the trade. Okay. Same thing, if the trade is open and it goes against you immediately, never goes in profit, just open and go against you. it will close after 4 hours. Doesn't matter how far it goes, after 4 hours. If you set to 1, it will close after 1 hour. So only use this if you are familiar with how binary trading works. If you are familiar with that, then you can work and use this option. Okay. If this is set to 3, this means the trade, if you want the trade to be open for 30 minutes, just set 30. If you want it to run against you for 20 minutes, you can set 20. That means if the trade is open at 1 p.m., at 1:30, if the trade is in profits, if it opens and goes in profits in your favor, doesn't matter how much profit you have by 1:30, 1:30 the trade will get closed. If the trade is open and go against you immediately, you only will start counting 20 minutes. So at 1:20, the trade will be closed. Okay, this is what's happening here. So this is time-based trading, which is also known as binary trading. Okay, so whatever period you select, that's the period the robot will wait before it closes your trade. So if the trade is moving against you until the time that you set has been reached, the robot will remain running. If the trade is going in your favor and you have reached a certain amount of um, of preps, the robot will not close until it finishes 30 minutes. Okay, so this is what's happening with time-based exit. So you must be familiar with binary trading, then you can use it. If you already was someone who was trading binary before, then you already know how this works. Okay, so these are the available modes. So if you decide you want it for a day, this you can also use if you are a day trader. You can use days. You say 1 day, you can close 1 day, which means now you are saying when the robot finds, let's say during London Open, the robot picks up the signal for analysis matching, it will open the trade for you, which whatever lot size, okay, either 1, 2, or 3. So if that trade is in your favor, it's moving in your favor, the robot will keep that trade running throughout the day. The trade will only get closed when the market is closing for the day, which is when the market is closing at 12 at night, if it closes at 12 on your side. But when it closes for the day, that's the time that trade will be closed. Whether it's in profit at that time or it's in loss, it will close at that time. Okay. Same thing, if the trade is going against you, the robot will not close the trade the whole day. It will only close it when the market is closing at 12. Okay. So if you want to day trade using time-based, you can then do this. Just put it on 1 day and then you run the trade for 1 day. Okay. If you want to swing trade using time-based, you can swing trade and say you want the robot to run for days and you want the robot to run for 3 days. Okay. Then you say if the trade is opened on Monday, it will close on Wednesday night. So if you put it on 5, if it opens the trade on Monday, the trade will run throughout the week. As long as your balance allows the trade to be open, it will run throughout the week and closes on Friday. Okay. So if you want to use this, just be sure you are familiar with binary trading. Okay. So if this is 1, that will close after 1 day. If you set this to 2, that will close after 1 hour. This is 3, it will close after 1 minute. So whatever you do, just be aware of what you are doing. Okay. At least be familiar with binary trading because that's what's happening here. So close profits after, it's set to 1, which is 2 here, which is hours, 2 for hours. Close profits after 1 hour. So that means you're only trading that 1 hour candle. So the trade, the trade is open at 2:30, it will close at 3:30. Okay. 3:30, whatever profit you have at the time, will close at that time. It opened and went against you immediately, will stay until 3:30. If it goes against you, let's say it opens goes against you immediately. Okay, for about 10 minutes, it stays in a negative. Then it comes back and goes into profit. That 10 that was calculated while it was on a negative, it's eliminated now. It starts counting the new 1 hour as it goes in profits. Then it will stay for 1 hour as long as it profits. It will start counting that 1 hour countdown. The 1 hour, it closes your profits. Okay. So you can either use this, you are familiar with binary trading. By default, it's on false. Then we have the nodes. Okay. Now with the nodes, what you need to pay attention to is the different pairs that we have them on. Okay. Now for indices, it's simple. It's US 30. It's DAX, which is German 30. It's straightforward. What some people have been, most frequent question that I've been getting is with this GBP, USD, Euro. GBP, whatever pair you have open that has the pair that is the currency GBP, you use these settings, or you can change them and make them higher. These are just the minimum that are recommended. Okay, if you feel like a take profit of 150 is too close, you can make it bigger. Or if it is like it's too far, you can make it lower. But if you are day trading, for which is what the robot is meant to do, then these will be the minimum settings you want to use. Okay, regardless if you are trading GBP USD, Euro, GBP, GBP JPY, GBP NZD, GBP, whatever. If it's GBP, these are the pairs you will be using. Okay. If you are trading Euro USD, USD NZD, USD JPY, USD CAD, whatever USD pair you are trading, this will be what you will be using. And trading Euro, it's Euro JPY, Euro NZD, Euro whatever. You use these pairs. Now, some people get confused in this case. When it's GBP USD, then they'll ask, what do you use? Still use GBP, because GBP is it's more the let me put it, the value of GBP is higher than USD. Okay, so I still use GBP. If you are trading USD and it's USD Euro, or Euro USD, you will use Euro's settings, because by value Euro is bigger than USD. So use Euro. If it's Euro GBP, you use GBP. Okay. Whatever you do, that's how you use it. For GBP, all GBP pairs is what you use. USD, this is what you use. Euro, this is what you use. Okay. You find that the trailing stop is taking long to move for you can always reduce it. Remember, this is for day trading. You are a scalper, or if you want to secure profits very quickly, can always reduce your trailing stop. Okay, make it less than 30, so that you can trade stops very quickly for you, because you want to scalp or you want to secure profits very quickly. Okay, USD ZAR and gold, they are pretty much similar, but the difference is within the spikes, how they spike as they move. So that's why you find a stop loss a bit different, because once they are the same, USDs are get stopped up mostly by the spread. You will find that the price never reached that level when you have your stop loss, but because the spread is large or the spread is wide, you get stopped out. So that's why you'll find these are slightly different, but the value are pretty much almost the same. Okay, that's what's happening. But what I wanted to clarify was this part, because most of the questions I get are here, where someone would say, I want to trade GBP USD. So which ones do I use? Do I use GBP or do I use USD? Use GBP, use GBP. USD, use USD. It's Euro, use Euro. But if it's GBP with Euro, you use GBP. If it's GBP with USD, you use USD. If it's USD with Euro, you use Euro. Okay, that's what's happening here. So quick recap, password. Another thing I need to clarify, if you have different brokers, okay, you're using XNS, you're using Forex, you're using IC Market, using FX Pro, Eagle FX. Now, these brokers will not write your name in the same format. Okay. So for FX Pro, your name could be your name and your surname. But for Eagle FX, it could be your surname and your name. Now, if you gave me your name and surname in that format, name, surname, that will be your first name, second name. Okay, first name, last name. So I give you the password for that. That means that password only works if the broker is using the format name and last name or name and surname. That password will work. But if the broker is using the format surname and then name, which is last name and first name, then the password will not work because now the format is not the same. So the robot will say the password is wrong, which means you need to send me this new format that you are using with this broker so that I can give you a password for that format. Okay. So if you all your trade, your accounts, the one account starts with your surname, then your name, the other account starts with your name, then your surname. That means you need to send them both to me. Then I can be able to create a password for each format. Same thing, if one broker has your name first, and then you have your surname. Your name starts with a capital letter, your surname starts with a capital letter. Okay. But with a different broker, you have your name in lower caps and your surname in lower caps. The password will not work because the format is now different because it's case sensitive. That means you need to send me those names. So the names, or tell me that I'm still using the same name, but with this broker, the name is written in low cases and the surname is in low cases. But with a different broker, your name starts with a capital letter, surname starts with a capital letter. So those are different things. So the robot is very case sensitive when it comes to the password. So that's why I recommend send me a screenshot of the account so that I can see your name, how it's written there, with upper cases or lower cases. Then I can give you a password that matches that. So just pay attention to how your name is written, what format your broker is using, so that the password can be the same. Okay. Quick recap: password, default settings is for NasDax. Any broker that does not use 0.01, you want to pay attention to the distance of your stop loss. If it's too far, that means you need to remove 10 from your take profit, remove 1V0 from your stop loss, 10 from your trading stop. Same applies also with these ones. Okay. Just pay attention. First, use the default settings. Then if your stop loss is when it places a pending order, if your stop loss is too far, you can't even see it on the screen. It means your broker is using, or your broker has low liquidity. Okay, then you need to remove 10 from the default settings. Okay. Daily target is based on your account currency. If it's USD, this will mean 1000 USD. If it's ZAR, it will be 1000 ZAR. If you want to target to 500, you can set to 500. Your account is in USD, that's 500 USD. The account is in ZAR, that will be 500 ZAR. Okay. The robot will switch off if the switch off option is on true when it reaches the 500. Okay. Lot size 1, if the analysis matches the rules by 90%, lot size 1 will be used. The analysis matches the rules by 95%, lot size 2 will be used. If the analysis matches the rules 100%, lot size 3 will be used. Lot size management by default is on false, can always make it on true. Just remember the percentage that is used to calculate your lot size is very much affected by your account leverage. Okay. Number of pending orders by default is 30, can always reduce it, but try not to make it less than 10. This does not mean the robot will open 10 trades all at once. It just allows the robot to look further into the market. Okay. Stop loss is always how much you're willing to lose in pips. Trailing stops, how much you want the robot to follow the price, or when do you want the robot to start trailing stops for you. For notification, whatever is happening on your account, whatever the robot is doing, whatever someone else is doing on your account, the robot will tell you the trade was closed, the trade was open, trailing stop was, take profit was hit, stop loss was hit, and so on. Binary option, time-based trading. That means you want the robot to open a trade and just hold a trade only for a certain amount of time or certain amount of period, then it wanted to close after that. So if you want the robot to open trades and close them after certain amount of time or certain amount of periods, you make this true. If you want the robot to only use your take profit, stop loss, leave this on false. Okay. Mode one, days, hours, and minutes. So if it's on 2, this means the robot will close the trade after 1 hour. If it's 3, this means minutes, it will close after 1 minute. If it's days, it will close after 1 day. So whatever you decide on, just remember, it will only close after it reaches the time limit that is set. Notes, notes as I've mentioned, minimum or recommended settings, okay, that you have here. Talking about minimum, the minimum deposit that is recommended for the robot is the broker's minimum deposit. So if your broker accepts $50, you can use $50, the robot will trade. It will not stop trading just because you have $50. It will trade even if you have $50. If your broker's minimum deposit is 100 USD, you can trade using 100 USD. The robot will still trade for you. If your broker's minimum deposit is 250 USD, the robot will trade for you. But the average recommended minimum deposit for the account is 100 USD. Okay. For indices, you might want to make at least 200 USD if you are trading indices. Sorry, if you're trading indices, you want to make in more than 100 USD, but 100 USD will still accept, will still trade. But the reason we don't recommend 100 USD for indices is because you'll only be able to get one trade at a time. Okay, because most brokers, the requirement for NasDax is between 60 USD and 80 USD. So if your account is 100 USD, that means you can only get one trade at a time until that trade is closed. Only then you can get another one. So at least try to get it to be 200 or more so that you can have more options to get more than one trade running. But if you don't have a problem to only have one trade running, then you can use 100 USD as your minimum deposit. Otherwise, any deposit you want to use, just be reasonable. Don't try to use $10 on the account and expect the robot to grow $10 in 1 week to an amount that is unreasonable. Okay, if you're gonna start with a $10 deposit, expect $10 results. Okay, if you start with $100 deposit, you expect results accordingly. Now, one thing also I want to specify: the daily target. When you set a daily target, what I always recommend is this. First, ask yourself, okay, you have this account, a certain amount of balance or amount of money, okay? Before you decide what your daily target is, first ask yourself, how much are you willing to lose in 1 day on your account, okay? If on your account you say, I'm willing to lose $50 a day, then when you set your daily target, you're gonna say $50 times 5, okay? $50 times 5, that's 250. Then we can say the daily target, 250 minimum, okay? Whatever you say you're willing to lose, times it by 5, then you can set your daily target on that amount. This way you don't set high amounts, and then when you close the day, let's say you have your daily target for currencies set at 1,000, but you are using 0.01. Okay, at the end of the day, you close with $80. Now, looking at your daily target of 1,000 and what you actually get of $80, it will not make sense to you, as if the robot said, "This is what I'm going to give you." The robot doesn't say, "I'm going to give you 1,000 a day." The robot says, "How much do you want to make a day?" so that if I reach this amount, I can stop working. Okay? That's what it means. If I reach this amount you're giving me, I will stop working. So when you want to set a daily target, always just take consideration of how much you are willing to lose a day, times that by 5. Okay, and say if I'm willing to lose 100 USD today, then 100 USD times 5, that's 500 USD. That means your daily target, you want to put it at 500 USD. If you have a small account, you say for the day I'm willing to lose 20 USD times 20 USD, that's 100 USD. That means the daily target will be 100 USD. So whatever you set in your daily target, just keep in mind of how much you're willing to lose. That can times that by 5, and that's what you want to make a day, so that when you reach that amount, the robot can stop working. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I needed to clarify. This thing is running seconds. Okay, it's gonna stop anytime. So what I'm gonna do, going to end this, then I'm going to start another one, and that's where I will take questions. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, we're gonna go through them on the other session. But for this, this is gonna end anytime anyway. It's gonna switch off anytime now. That's basically all. It took longer than I expected, but that's all there is to this one. So I'm gonna start the next one. Then you can ask your questions over there. If you have questions, then we'll answer them over there. So I'm gonna let this end this one anyway. So we're gonna talk on the other one, on the next one.